Colson Smith vows I might not come lower back to Coronation Street after Craig's dying. Coronation Street big name Colson Smith has dominated out the opportunity of a go-back for Craig Tinker after his emotional dying, explaining that any flashback or ghost scenes are off the table. The person became tragically killed in a brutal assault this week whilst trying to show himself to DC Kid Green, when his days shadowing the detective took a flip for the worse. Craig became counseled through DS Lisa Swain to get lower back in uniform and show that Kid became incorrect, approximately him now no longer making an amazing DC. Seizing the possibility to do simply that, Craig pulled over Mick Michaelis for a breathalyzer test, after catching him drink driving. However, matters took a drastic flip whilst Mick lashed out with a baseball bat and knocked Craig unconscious, earlier than fleeing the scene and leaving him bleeding out. Craig became rushed to health center whilst Maria Connor determined him. However, his circumstance quick deteriorated and he became suggested lifeless after docs have been not able to resuscitate him. The lovers are devastated through Craig's dying. Actor Colson Smith found out that this became the manner he desired the person to move whilst he determined out that his time at the cobbles became coming to an end. In the communication with Kate Brooks, producer, there were approximately 20 minutes of Kate speaking to me. However, we hadn't touched on whilst or how, or who or what, he explained. So I stopped Kate and said, "Look, I actually have questions. And one is whilst, and is, do I get killed?" She stopped and stumbled a touch bit. And I said, "If it makes it less complicated for you, the proper solution for me is yes. For me to move, I might need to depart. I might need to die. I might need the door to be shut, so then I can recognize in my head that Corey has been this. Corey has completed that, and it's miles now completed. And Craig's adventure is over." So in a genuinely bizarre manner, it became the proper factor for me to be killed. I failed to need that we'd have you ever lower back, understanding that it'd be very unlikely, and understanding that it'd experience a chunk like unfinished enterprise and an unfinished job. So I suppose Craig loss of life. And Craig loss of life with inside the line of responsibility as a copper. That sort of hero's dying became through a long way the maximum best tale for the exit. In current years, limitless lifeless characters have back to the road with inside the shape of a ghost, hallucination or flashback, the maximum current examples being Paul Foreman and Seb Franklin. However, Colson has denied any threat of seeing Ghost Craig with inside the future, revealing that there can be no go back for the person, as he has closed the door at the experience. I did say I might not be coming lower back as a ghost. I became like, the day I depart can be the day that I depart. Speaking approximately the finality of his exit, Colson added, "It appears like it is completed. It appears like it is finished. Like I've were given the whole thing that I've were given from Coronation Street and that is it now." So it felt very similar to a thank you. Goodbye. Good night kind factor. Due to the fact I recognize there is no go back for Craig and Colson with inside the future. I actually have spoke to human beings who've left and now no longer been killed and I simply experience like. For me, it became 100% the proper manner to recognize that I'm now no longer coming lower back. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye and see you again.